perhaps those not familiar with it?
Absolutely. Well, I was travelling there with Kakadu Tourism, and we were there to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Crocodile Dundee. And look, it is just, as you said, it's the same size as Switzerland. It is enormous. There is so much to see there. It is absolutely stunning in terms of natural beauty, and then there's a history too. I mean, if you look just at the art sites, there's Bardagilogy art site where we went. You pass these pandanus palms, these sandstone formations. You see these thousands-of-year-old depictions, these ochre depictions of the animals they used to hunt, the Dreamtime characters. And then you go to Uvia, which is famous from the film, the site where Paul Hogan goes up and says, "This is my backyard, and over there is the Never Never." If you remember that, that's what you will see there. It is the most stunning place to see the sunset, probably in Australia. I'm going to put it out there and say that.
Oh, wow. Well, that's a big call,
Yeah.
but I do believe you, actually, having traveled a little bit in Northern Australia. Talk to us about where you stayed. Tell us about it.
Okay, well, the first place we stayed was in Jabiru, and that is McEwer's famous Crocodile Hotel, which, as the name suggests, is shaped like a really big crocodile. You know, the pool is in the belly. It's a very cool place to stay and very iconic. And then we went to Cooinda and we stayed at the Kakadu Lodge there. And they have very kind of rustic motel-style rooms, but they also have camping. And now they have a very cool glamping option. So, you know, you can have your bell tent, your pallet bed, that whole thing. And in those two places, you really are in the main sort of sites of the action. So you're not going to be missing out on anything there. And, you know, there's not actually that many options. So those are two really good ones.
Yeah, all right. So you stayed in a hotel shaped like a crocodile. How about seeing the real thing? Did you venture out and see any of the local wildlife?
We absolutely did, and there's so much to see. You really, first of all, I will say you have to watch out for the signs. If they say don't swim, because there are so many crocodiles there. We started going to Anbang Bang Billabong, which is, of course, from the film. Beautiful lotus flowers all over this waterhole, but weirdly, we didn't see any there, even though it's a famous site. So we moved on and did the yellow water cruise, which really, if you're going to go to Kakadu, you have to do that. It's be like going to Paris and, you know, not seeing the Eiffel Tower. So you can do that at sunrise or sunset. And we took the sunrise option. It's just beautiful. You go there when the sky is still black, you ease out on your flat-bottomed boat, and all these little heads pop up, and you see those incredible crocodiles everywhere, some of which are apparently up to 7 meters long. And of course, by the side of the river and the floodplains, as you're going along, you see the wild brumbies, you see all the species of birds. There's, you know, dancing brolgas and beautiful eagles. It is really a magical experience that you just have to do when you're there.
Certainly, but I'm curious, I mean, do you have to stay out of the water altogether, or do they bring you to spots that are perhaps safe to cool off?
Yes, they do. And obviously, like I said, if there's a sign that says don't swim, but we went and found this amazing waterhole called Moline Waterhole. And you go there, there's like a little pool, you swim in there, you've got the waterfall kind of bashing down on your back. It's a very wild, beautiful experience. But as I say, you do just have to keep your wits about you, even in those places, I guess, because they say, you know, they've cleared them of crocs, but just keep your wits about you.
Certainly so. Talk to us about the rock art. How accessible is it, or are there sort of a lot of restrictions, I guess, to keep them in their pristine state?
Well, I mean, we travelled with a guide, and his name was Christian. He was amazing, gave us such a great background to all of it. He kind of navigated us around there, but you can do it independently. There's not a whole lot of barriers or anything, but you know, the Parks Department there is obviously, it's UNESCO Heritage listed, it's very well maintained, and everybody really respects that. And there are parks rangers around to kind of make sure that you're not going to be disrespecting it in any way. But in terms of, you know, you really could get right up in front of it, and it's really something to behold, and it's just thousands and thousands of years of history right there.
Yeah, Nina, just tell us quickly, what season did you go in, and perhaps would you suggest another?
No, it was actually great. We went at just the end of the wet season, which was a really good time to go. There are actually 6 seasons there, so you've got your pick of all different kinds of weather, from the knock 'em down storm season, which is more intense than the wet season, the cooler season, all of that. but it's going to be hot whenever you go, and it was very hot when we were there. So you just got to make sure you take a lot of water, you take a hat, you take your sunscreen, and then you just get out there and make the most of it.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. Nina, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Nina Karnikowski there telling us all about Kakadu.